Have you ever met a woman who seems to rub people the wrong way, yet there's something undeniably impressive about her intellect? You know the type. She's the one who questions everything, challenges authority, and doesn't follow the crowd. While others might find her behavior annoying or difficult, what if I told you that these so-called irritating traits are actually hallmarks of exceptional intelligence? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of Sigma Spicy Ladies and uncovering 7 behaviors that might seem annoying on the surface, but are actually powerful indicators of a brilliant mind at work. By the end of this video, you'll completely change how you view these remarkable women. And you might even recognize some of these traits in yourself. 1. Questioning everything. Even the obvious stuff. Let's start with one of the most annoying Sigma Spicy Ladies behaviors. Their relentless need to question everything. I mean everything. From workplace procedures to social traditions, from expert opinions to commonly accepted facts, nothing escapes their scrutiny. You've probably encountered this woman before. She's the one in the meeting who asks, but why do we do it this way when everyone else just accepts the status quo? She's the friend who wants to know the source behind that viral social media claim. She's the colleague who challenges a boss's decision, even when it seems obvious to everyone else. On the surface, this constant questioning can be incredibly frustrating. It slows down processes, challenges authority, and makes people uncomfortable. But here's what's really happening. This behavior stems from an exceptionally active and curious mind that refuses to accept information passively. Research in cognitive psychology shows us that people with higher intelligence tend to engage in more analytical thinking. They don't just accept information at face value. They dig deeper, looking for evidence, logic, and reasoning. This critical thinking process is actually a hallmark of intellectual giftedness. When a Sigma Spicy Lady questions the obvious, she's exercising what psychologists call intellectual humility, the recognition that even widely accepted beliefs might be wrong. This trait is strongly correlated with higher cognitive ability and better decision-making skills. Think about it this way. Throughout history, every major breakthrough in innovation came from someone who questioned the status quo. Galileo questioned the geocentric model of the universe. Marie Curie questioned the nature of radioactivity. These weren't people who accepted, "That's just how things are," as a sufficient answer. The Sigma Spicy Lady's constant questioning isn't meant to be difficult or contrarian. It's her mind's natural way of processing information thoroughly before accepting it as truth. This deep processing leads to more accurate beliefs, better decisions, and innovative solutions that others might miss. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. 2. Refusing to engage in small talk and social pleasantries. Here's another behavior that drives people absolutely crazy. Sigma Spicy Ladies often seem uninterested in small talk and social pleasantries. While others are chatting about the weather, weekend plans, or celebrity gossip, she might seem distant, distracted, or even rude. People often interpret this as arrogance or antisocial behavior. They think she thinks she's too good for casual conversation. But this assumption misses the mark entirely. The truth is, Sigma Spicy Ladies have what researchers call cognitive impatience when it comes to superficial interactions. Their brains are wired to seek out meaningful, substantive exchanges rather than surface-level chatter. This isn't because they think they're superior. It's because their minds crave intellectual stimulation. Studies in personality psychology have found that people with higher intelligence often prefer deeper, more meaningful conversations. They derive less satisfaction from small talk because their brains are constantly seeking patterns, connections, and new information to process. Think about it from a cognitive perspective. When you have a mind that's naturally analytical and curious, spending time on conversations about trivial matters can feel genuinely unstimulating. It's like asking a race car driver to cruise around a parking lot at 5 miles per hour. Technically possible, but not exactly engaging. This preference for meaningful interaction also explains why Sigma Spicy Ladies often have smaller social circles, but deeper relationships. They'd rather have 3 close friends with whom they can have fascinating conversations than 30 acquaintances with whom they make small talk at parties. The Sigma Spicy Lady's apparent disinterest in social pleasantries isn't rudeness. It's her brain's natural inclination toward efficiency and substance. She's not trying to be difficult. She's simply operating at a different cognitive frequency than those around her. 3. Pointing out flaws in popular ideas and trends. Nothing makes a Sigma Spicy Lady more unpopular at parties than her tendency to poke holes in popular ideas, trends, or movements. While everyone else is enthusiastically jumping on the latest bandwagon, she's the voice in the corner saying, "Wait, has anyone actually thought this through?" This behavior can be incredibly annoying to others, especially when she's critiquing something they're genuinely excited about. She might point out the logical inconsistencies in a viral self-help philosophy, question the sustainability of a popular business trend, or highlight the unintended consequences of a social movement that everyone else supports. On the surface, this seems like classic contrarian behavior, being different just for the sake of being different. But what's really happening is much more sophisticated. Sigma Spicy Ladies possess strong analytical skills and systems thinking that allow them to see potential problems others miss. Research in critical thinking shows that people with higher cognitive ability are better at identifying logical fallacies, recognizing bias, and predicting unintended consequences. They don't just look at the immediate, obvious effects of an idea. They think several steps ahead and consider how different elements might interact. This skill is incredibly valuable, even if it's not always appreciated. Think about the 2008 financial crisis. There were people who saw it coming years in advance because they were willing to look past the popular narrative and examine the underlying systems. These weren't pessimists or contrarians. They were analytical thinkers who could see patterns others missed. When a Sigma Spicy Lady points out flaws in popular ideas, she's not trying to be a buzzkill. Her brain naturally looks for weak points, contradictions, and potential failure modes. This is actually a form of intellectual courage. She's willing to be unpopular in service of accuracy and truth. This behavior also demonstrates what psychologists call cognitive flexibility, the ability to shift between different conceptual representations and think about problems from multiple angles. Instead of getting caught up in the emotional excitement of a new trend, she maintains the mental distance necessary for objective analysis. 4. Preferring solo work over team collaboration. In our increasingly collaborative work environment, the Sigma Spicy Lady's preference for solo work can seem problematic. She might decline invitations to group brainstorming sessions, prefer to work on projects independently, or seem resistant to team-building activities. Managers and colleagues often interpret this as a lack of team spirit or poor interpersonal skills. "She's not a team player" becomes a common criticism. But this assessment completely misses what's actually driving her behavior. The reality is that Sigma Spicy Ladies often possess what psychologists call intellectual autonomy. They work best when they have the freedom to think, analyze, and create without external interference. This isn't antisocial behavior. It's cognitive optimization. Research in productivity and creativity shows that different people have different optimal working conditions. While some people thrive on external stimulation and group energy, others perform best in quiet, controlled environments where they can engage in deep, focused thinking. For many Sigma Spicy Ladies, group work can actually be cognitively inefficient. Their minds work quickly and analytically, and they often find themselves frustrated when group processes slow them down, or when they have to explain their thinking at a pace that accommodates everyone else. This preference for solo work also allows them to engage in what researchers call divergent thinking, the ability to generate creative ideas by exploring many unexpected solutions. This type of thinking often requires uninterrupted time and mental space, which can be difficult to achieve in group settings. Additionally, Sigma Spicy Ladies often have strong intrinsic motivation. They're driven by internal satisfaction and personal standards rather than external validation or social approval. This internal drive is actually correlated with higher creativity and innovation, but it can make them seem uninterested in the social aspects of teamwork. When a Sigma Spicy Lady prefers solo work, she's not being difficult or antisocial. She's optimizing for her cognitive strengths and working in a way that allows her to produce her best thinking and most creative solutions. 5. Appearing emotionally detached in high-stress situations, one of the most misunderstood Sigma Spicy Lady behaviors is her tendency to remain calm and seemingly emotionally detached during crisis situations. While others might be panicking, crying, or expressing strong emotions, she appears cool, collected, and analytical. This emotional control often strikes others as cold or insensitive. How can she be so calm when everything's falling apart? People wonder. Some might even interpret this as a lack of empathy or emotional intelligence. But what looks like emotional detachment is actually a sophisticated form of emotional regulation combined with analytical thinking. Sigma Spicy Ladies possess what psychologists call cognitive reappraisal skills, the ability to reframe stressful situations in ways that reduce emotional reactivity and promote clear thinking. Research in neuroscience shows us that when we're highly emotional, the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for complex reasoning and decision-making, becomes less active. Essentially, strong emotions can impair our ability to think clearly and make good decisions. Sigma Spicy Ladies seem to intuitively understand this relationship between emotion and cognition. Instead of getting caught up in the emotional whirlwind of a crisis, they automatically shift into analytical mode, focusing on understanding the situation, identifying possible solutions, and determining the best course of action. This doesn't mean they don't feel emotions. They absolutely do. But they develop the ability to compartmentalize their emotional responses so that feelings don't interfere with problem solving. This is actually a hallmark of emotional intelligence, not a lack of it. Think about professionals who work in high-stress environments: surgeons, air traffic controllers, crisis negotiators. The best ones aren't emotionally numb. They're emotionally regulated. They feel the weight of the situation, but they don't let those feelings impair their ability to perform when it matters most. When a Sigma Spicy Lady appears emotionally detached during a crisis, she's not being cold or uncaring. She's engaging in sophisticated emotional regulation that allows her to think clearly and act effectively when clear thinking is most needed. 6. Challenging authority and hierarchical structures. Perhaps no Sigma Spicy Lady behavior is more consistently annoying to those in power than her tendency to challenge authority and question hierarchical structures. She's the employee who asks tough questions during all-hands meetings, the student who challenges professors' assumptions, and the citizen who questions government policies. This behavior often gets her labeled as difficult, insubordinate, or lacking respect for authority in hierarchical organizations. This can seriously impact her career prospects, as leaders often prefer people who follow directions without questioning the reasoning behind them. But what looks like rebelliousness or disrespect is actually the manifestation of several sophisticated cognitive processes. First, Sigma Spicy Ladies possess what researchers call intellectual courage, the willingness to challenge ideas and assumptions even when it's socially or professionally risky to do so. They also demonstrate strong systems thinking, the ability to see how different parts of an organization or society interact and influence each other. When they challenge authority, they're often seeing systemic problems or inefficiencies that others miss because they're too focused on their immediate role within the hierarchy. Research in organizational psychology shows that cultures that encourage questioning and dissent actually perform better in the long run. They make fewer errors, generate more innovative solutions, and adapt more quickly to changing circumstances. The Sigma Spicy Ladies' challenging behavior, while uncomfortable, often serves the organization's best interests. This behavior also reflects what psychologists call an internal locus of control, the belief that you have the power to influence your circumstances rather than being at the mercy of external forces. People with high intelligence often develop a strong internal locus of control because they trust their ability to analyze situations and make good decisions. When a Sigma Spicy Lady challenges authority, she's not being disrespectful for the sake of it. She's applying critical thinking skills to power structures and refusing to accept because I said so as sufficient justification for decisions that affect her and others. This intellectual independence is actually correlated with higher cognitive ability and better problem-solving skills. Throughout history, social progress has often come from people who are willing to challenge existing power structures and propose better alternatives. 7. Maintaining strong personal boundaries, the final behavior that often annoys others, is the Sigma Spicy Lady's tendency to maintain very strong personal boundaries. She might decline social invitations, refuse to share personal information, resist peer pressure, or simply say no to requests without providing detailed explanations. To others, this can seem selfish, antisocial, or overly rigid. Why can't she just go with the flow? People wonder. Why does she have to make everything so complicated? But what looks like inflexibility is actually sophisticated self-awareness and strategic thinking. Sigma Spicy Ladies understand something that many others don't. Boundaries aren't walls meant to keep people out. They're frameworks that protect your time, energy, and mental resources so you can focus on what matters most to you. This boundary setting behavior reflects several aspects of high intelligence. First, it demonstrates strong self-awareness, the ability to understand your own needs, preferences, and limitations. Research shows that self-awareness is strongly correlated with cognitive ability and emotional intelligence. Second, maintaining boundaries requires what psychologists call executive function, the mental skills that include working memory, flexible thinking, and self-control. It takes cognitive effort to resist social pressure and make decisions based on your own values, rather than external expectations. Third, strong boundaries reflect strategic thinking and resource management. Sigma Spicy Ladies understand that their time and energy are finite resources, and they allocate these resources deliberately rather than letting others dictate how they should be spent. This boundary setting also demonstrates what researchers call authentic self-expression, the courage to be true to yourself even when it conflicts with social expectations. Studies show that people who live more authentically report higher life satisfaction and better mental health outcomes. When a Sigma Spicy Lady maintains strong boundaries, she's not being difficult or antisocial. She's engaging in sophisticated self-management that allows her to operate at her highest cognitive level and maintain her mental and emotional well-being. The intelligence behind the annoying behavior. Now that we've explored these 7 behaviors, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. What we're really seeing is a constellation of traits that researchers associate with high intelligence and sophisticated cognitive processing. Each of these behaviors, the constant questioning, the preference for meaningful interaction, the analytical critique of popular ideas, the need for solo work time, the emotional regulation during crisis, the challenging of authority, and the strong boundary setting, reflects different aspects of advanced thinking. These women aren't trying to be difficult or annoying. They're simply operating with cognitive patterns that are less common in the general population. Their brains process information differently, value different types of stimulation, and prioritize different outcomes than what society typically expects. The tragedy is that these valuable cognitive traits often get misinterpreted as character flaws. Instead of recognizing the intelligence behind the behavior, we label it as problematic and try to change it. This is like criticizing a race car for being loud when what we should be appreciating is its power and precision. Understanding and appreciating Sigma Spicy Lady intelligence. So, how can we better understand and appreciate Sigma Spicy Ladies instead of being annoyed by them? First, we need to recognize that different types of intelligence express themselves in different ways. The quiet, analytical Sigma Spicy Lady might not be as obviously brilliant as a charismatic alpha leader, but her contributions are equally valuable. Second, we should understand that what seems like difficult behavior is often the external manifestation of sophisticated internal processes. When she questions your idea, she's not attacking you personally. She's applying critical thinking skills. When she prefers to work alone, she's optimizing for cognitive efficiency. Third, we need to create environments that allow different cognitive styles to flourish. This means making space for questioning and dissent, respecting different working preferences, and valuing analytical thinking even when it challenges popular beliefs. Organizations, relationships, and societies that learn to harness Sigma Spicy Lady intelligence instead of suppressing it will have significant advantages. They'll make better decisions, avoid more pitfalls, and generate more innovative solutions to complex problems. The value of cognitive diversity. The key insight here is about cognitive diversity. The idea that different types of thinking and problem-solving approaches make groups and organizations more effective. Sigma spicy ladies represent a particular type of cognitive style that brings unique value to any team or community. While alpha personalities might excel at leadership and motivation, and beta personalities might contribute stability and cooperation, Sigma spicy ladies offer critical thinking, innovative analysis, and intellectual independence. All of these cognitive styles are necessary for optimal group performance. The challenge is that our society often has a narrow definition of intelligence and success. We celebrate the charismatic leader and the collaborative team player, but we're less comfortable with the independent critical thinker who challenges assumptions and operates outside traditional hierarchies. This is a mistake. Research consistently shows that diverse teams outperform homogeneous ones, and this includes cognitive diversity. The Sigma spicy lady's annoying behaviors might be exactly what your organization, relationship, or community needs to reach its full potential. Recognizing Sigma spicy lady intelligence in yourself. If you've recognized some of these behaviors in yourself, congratulations. You might be operating with Sigma spicy lady intelligence patterns. This recognition can be both validating and challenging, as it might explain some of the interpersonal difficulties you've experienced. Understanding your cognitive style can help you make better decisions about career paths, relationships, and life choices. Instead of trying to force yourself into more traditional patterns, you can look for environments and situations that appreciate and leverage your analytical strengths. This might mean seeking out work environments that value independent thinking, building relationships with people who appreciate deep conversations, or finding communities that welcome questioning and intellectual exploration. Remember, there's nothing wrong with operating differently from the majority. Your cognitive style brings unique value, and the world needs people who think the way you do. The future of Sigma spicy lady recognition. As our understanding of intelligence and personality continues to evolve, we're starting to recognize and appreciate different cognitive styles more than we have in the past. The rise of remote work, for example, has created more opportunities for people who prefer independent work styles. Similarly, the increasing complexity of the problems we face as a society means we need more people who can think critically, challenge assumptions, and see systemic issues that others might miss. The Sigma spicy lady's analytical approach to problem solving is becoming increasingly valuable. We're also seeing more research into different types of intelligence and cognitive processing, which helps validate experiences that might have been dismissed or pathologized in the past. This growing understanding creates more space for cognitive diversity and different ways of being intelligent. The key is continuing to expand our definitions of intelligence, success, and valuable contribution. The more we understand about how different minds work, the better we become at creating environments where all types of intelligence can flourish. As we wrap up our exploration of these 7 Sigma spicy lady behaviors, I hope you're seeing them in a completely new light. What initially seemed annoying or difficult now reveals itself as sophisticated intelligence in action. The woman who questions everything isn't being contrary. She's being intellectually rigorous. The one who avoids small talk isn't being rude. She's seeking meaningful connection. The one who challenges popular ideas isn't being negative. She's being analytically honest. These behaviors might be less common and sometimes socially challenging, but they represent valuable cognitive abilities that contribute to better decision-making, innovative problem-solving, and intellectual progress. The next time you encounter someone exhibiting these traits, try to see past the surface behavior to the intelligence underneath. Ask yourself, what is her mind actually doing? What cognitive processes are driving this behavior? How might her perspective add value to the situation? And if you recognize these traits in yourself, remember that there's nothing wrong with thinking differently from the majority. Your analytical mind, independent spirit, and intellectual courage are gifts, even if they're not always appreciated by everyone around you. The world needs people who question assumptions, think independently, and maintain intellectual integrity, even when it's socially costly. These are the people who drive innovation, prevent mistakes, and push society forward. So, the next time someone calls a Sigma spicy lady's behavior annoying, you'll know better. You'll recognize that what you're witnessing isn't a character flaw. It's intelligence in action. And that's something we should be celebrating, not criticizing. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you found this exploration helpful. And let me know in the comments if you recognize any of these patterns in yourself or someone you know. Understanding cognitive diversity is a first step toward creating a world that appreciates all types of intelligence. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching and God bless.